Good morning, everyone. We are going to start learning about the next element of art, which is called value, which is the range of light to dark. Sort of like shading. You probably know this as shading. We're going to learn 4 different techniques for how to create value in your art. And all you'll need for this first part is your pencil. So get your value sheet out that is in the back of your sketchbook. And I want you to look at the first row here. It's blending using your pencil. So you just want to use a regular pencil. There's 5 steps. We are going to go as light as we can to as dark as we can in 5 steps. And this is just to get you started. We could do like this in several different steps. All right, so blending means we don't want to see any pencil strokes. So we're going to be using probably the side of your pencil more. It is easier to do this with a regular pencil rather than a mechanical pencil, so you might want to think about that. I find that students have an easier time if they start on the darkest side. So if you go over here to the darkest side, you're going to use your pencil and you're just going to shade in the entire box as dark as you can. And you're just going to shade this in as dark as you can. With blending, you do not want to see any of your pencil strokes. And you don't want to see any white space left when you're finished. You want it nice and smooth and all the same value. So that's pretty dark, and I think I've covered in most of the square. Now, the box right before it needs to be rather dark, but not quite as dark. So we're going to start layering some color here. You're not going to press as hard. This has a whole lot to do with pressure, which means how hard you're pressing on the paper with your pencil. So you will not use as much pressure this time as you did on the very last box. And you want to make sure that's all smoothed out, so that you cannot see your pencil strokes. Okay, so that you can see that is lighter. I think it might be a little bit too light, so I'm just going to go over it a little bit more because we just want it to be a little lighter than the last box. And it's easy to make these darker, but it's hard to make them lighter. So I'm just going to go over this a little bit more just to get it a little bit darker. All right, so you can see that this is a very dark value, and this box here is a little lighter. So we're going to do the same thing with the middle box. We're going to press even lighter so that this box will appear to be a lighter value in the box that we just did. And again, we want to smooth this out so that it does not show our pencil strokes. We want it to be nice and smooth. I am not pressing as hard as I did on the last 2 boxes. So I'm just getting it nice and smooth and making sure that it is a value lighter than the other box. So you can see I've got 3 so far, 3 very different values. So this box will be even lighter, and I'm going to be pressing even lighter with my pencil, barely touching the paper so that I can get this nice light value. And you can see that is even a lighter value. Now the first value is going to be barely touching. If we were doing a larger value scale, we wouldn't even put anything in the first box to show the white. But we're just going to barely touch here just to get a very light value. So hopefully you can see that our value scale is finished. We have a 5-step value scale. We have gone as light as we can to as dark as we can in 5 steps. That technique is called blending. There's no need to use your finger to do anything. You don't want to smudge it or anything. You notice that I just did all of this with my pencil. That is what I would like you to try to do. You don't need to use your finger or anything to smudge. You just blend it all with your pencil. All right, so you're going to try that one. And the next one is hatching. Hatching is also going to go from as light as we can to as dark as we can. This time we're going to be using lines. So this time we do want the lines to show. So I'm going to again start with the darkest box, and I am going to put lines down going in one direction, which is what hatching is. And I am applying a lot of pressure. I'm also applying a lot of lines. And when I am finished, I will not have hardly any white space showing. And we should be able to tell that this was done with lines. Another thing, you want to make sure that if you're looking down the rows, we are keeping the same value. So we want this value in hatching to be the same value as this box that we did in blending, but this time it's a different technique. So I'm just going to go in here again and make some more lines. Craftsmanship is important. Craftsmanship is how neat it is, so you want to make sure you keep all of this in the boxes. Each row is going to be worth 5 points, so you want to make sure that you have them nice and neat. All right, I think I'm pretty happy with that one. So now I'm going to go to the next box. This box is going to be just a little bit lighter, so I won't use quite as much pressure. And I'm going to make my lines. And I also want to make sure that if I look at the box above it, that it is mimicking the same value as I have in the box above it. So you just keep on going over this until you're happy with it. And that box is a little bit lighter than this one, but it is about the same value as the one above. So now I'm going to move on to the next one. You're going to apply a little less pressure on your pencil. And then you're going to make your hatch marks until you have gotten the same value as the box above and your value lighter. Notice you can tell that this is hatching because you can see my lines in this box. Up here, remember in the blending, we do not want to see any lines. Everything should be nice and smooth. But in this row, we want it to be we want the lines to show. All right, I think I'm happy with that box, so now I'm going to go to the next one. Again, even less pressure, barely touching the paper. And we should be able to match the value above. And then for our last box, which is the lightest box, again, we are going to hardly touch the paper at all. In these boxes, you have very little pressure, and you also might have more white space showing to show that it is a lighter value. So for this segment, you should finish the blending value scale, and you should finish the hatching value scale. Each one of these will be worth 5 points of your paper, total paper points. And then the next time we talk, we'll do cross-hatching and stippling. All right, guys, happy drawing. See you next time.